a grey one over here.
Last week, my trip out chasing Rusa had started off nicely. I ran into a nice consolation prize, taking a thirsty boar coming down for an arvo drink.
Oh, smoking.
This week, the journey continues. We check out day 2, where years of persistence finally paid off, and I got up close and personal with a herd of Rusa deer led by a cracking stag. Strap in for a roller coaster ride of emotions. This is one of the best videos I've filmed yet.
Can you believe this? Oh, he's a cracker.
Bow versus deer in the wild is real hunting. It's an even playing field. Deer are one of the most switched on, skittish creatures I've ever come across. They have 1,000 times better scent receptors than us. They can hear you walk over leaves 100 yards away. Combine this with great eyesight and the playing field almost tips towards the deer's favour. A single deer is hard. Add a herd to the conversation and the amount of senses you are trying to beat multiply, making the task near impossible for many. My preferred method of hunting is to spot and stalk. Every time is different, and from the moment you lay eyes on them, every decision can lead to success or failure.
Perched up on this saddle. I'm gonna give it like an hour and a half just as it warms up. There's some really good beds in behind me. Up in this pine. So, just gonna sit here to see if something walks up. Super quiet this morning. We've been just like hunched around and like glancing over the flats just to see if anything was out there because I've not seen a thing today.
It was just one of those dead mornings, so I pushed right up into the corner of the block.
Drop over, check these big tree rubs, and then once it heats up I'm gonna go just sit on the creek and just sit there till I'm bored shitless, because I used to run into the Rusa stag down on that creek at like 10, 11 when I wasn't allowed to take him. There's a heap more houses now, so I don't know if he still does it, but yeah, why not go have a crack? So this is where those rubs are, and he's obviously chosen a good spot because the nature alarm system just went ballistic, still going. These were the trees I came in here to look at. Yeah, it looks like he's moved on. They're pretty old. It's a nice little bowl, this one. Actually a little bit of open land. Well, it's nearly 7 o'clock. Oh wow, another rub tree just here. That's better. bit thicker up here on top. Just stop in and see if I can spot any movement with the binos. Had deer here once before. That's kind of as far as I can go. The little sunny face in the morning. I'll be up above them, so I'm going to peek out here with my binos and have a look. I'm going to walk back home through the creek. The wind's going this way, so I need to get over the other side. Smell a deer. Don't know if it's that Rusa STAG. Really thick here. It's going to take it super slow.
I couldn't turn him up, and I was close to camp, so I stopped in for a little break. Super funny hunting. I was just sitting here eating. I almost didn't cook up. I was going to just peel home. I only got here like late yesterday arvo. But after this morning I was annoyed and just didn't see any animals. And it's weird how your mindset just changes. But yeah, I had a bit of food and calmed down, so I'll go sit on this creek soon. Sit there for that 10, 11, 12 time, see if the big stag just does something random and walks down there, because I used to see him do that back when I couldn't shoot him. Hopefully knock a deer over, because I've got no deer left at home.
Just set up. Big stag. I must have got my wind. Fully just got here. I just got here. Spewing. I was fully setting up the camera, seen a spiker just walk on the other side of the dam. I just sat down and then see a doe come through on the track where I'd shot that pig yesterday, and then this big old stag just like emerged behind him, and I sat down, I had my proper camera on record. Anyway, they didn't know where I was, and one of them got wind of me and the doe ran around, and the stag got wind and sprinted this way, and then he took off. So, spewing. I was definitely just coming down for a drink.
I was still sitting there devastated and couldn't believe they'd winded me from so far away when they ran back over the hill.
There's a little spiky. There's a nice stag with him.
As I came around the bowl, I had the perfect vantage point, and the odds tipped back in my favour.
I'd be stoked with him.
As they were just moving out of my sight, I saw one start scraping the ground like it was going to bed down. I quickly chucked my GoPro on and moved in, and noticed the big stag from my binos had fully bedded up. It was the middle of the day, so I used the shadows to my advantage. I knew they would only lay down for about 30 to 40 minutes, so I had to move in quick. The deer was sitting over to the left, and I wanted to get just up above them a bit on the right hand side to use the wind in my favour and the landscape. If I could get just a little bit higher, I might get a nice shooting window down onto him. I pulled up and gave him another range. I was into 30 metres. There was still a few nice shadows, so I kept crawling a bit further. The wind was starting to swirl, and I was getting nervous as I knew there was so many deer with him and I didn't know where they were sitting. I ranged again. A few more steps and I was under 20. If I could get to those logs, it was 15. All of a sudden the wind hit my neck. I had 2 deer practically under my feet. I drew back. I needed more angle. It was going to be a risky move shuffling to the right, but I had to do it. Intense. Just wait a sec, I'll go check this arrow. No way. Oh man. Snap the arrow. It's gone to like pretty much the Fletcher's team. Let's watch the video, it's hard to see. Oh man, he's a cracker stag. I went up the inside, so the Fletchers, it's gone to nearly all the arrow. Didn't have a pass through, so it would have gone up and done some damage. So just gonna have to like sit here. I'm gonna give it half an hour. Or you can go get my backpack. Still just sitting here. It's been like half an hour. Can't see any other blood where I found that arrow, but I haven't walked any further. It's really like crunchy, thick bush. So praying he's down. I'll be so stoked with that stag. I haven't got a Rusa before, so yeah, I'd just be frothing. It's exactly what I planned on doing to come here. I nearly didn't come down and have a crack at them. I was going to let them just walk, just to not push them. Then at the last second I had this feeling, I was like, you know what, they've just got a bit disturbed up there, come around, like surely they might bed. And yeah, it was just lucky, like I just came down off the dam, got in, could just see them, and I saw one of them sit down and the other few disappear behind this bush. So I just got down in the gully, so I was as low as them, and just like pretty much quickly walked in, closed the gap, and then the wind is just swirling, so I could see his antlers. I didn't know where the others were. I knew there was like 4 or 5 deer there. So yeah, I just stood up, drew, and then just tried to like shuffle around the grass and try and get a shooting window. I could see his body and his head facing the other way, so yeah, I just put one straight up the inside of his ribs, so hopefully went up and nearly up into his heart. And yeah, hopefully there's some blood up here. Otherwise I'll be just trekking this bush back and forth all over. So I just got back to where this all just started. Come back and get my pack and get some water. So I went looking for that stag after 40 minutes, couldn't find any blood. Walked all the way up to the fence line at the top, tried to see where he'd maybe jumped over, couldn't, so I started working my way back through the bush. Saw this brown thing, thought it was the stag, expired, and I was like, nah, it's a black boy, one of those trees. And then, yeah, looked at it and was like, oh my God, that's the stag. Took one step, stood up and ran. So dumb
and annoying that I've just made that mistake when I've done that in the past. I just should have stopped, binoed in, tried to see if he was breathing. I just thought it was done, game over. And yeah, he just picked his head up and freaking ran. So there was a bit of a pile of blood where he was, but yeah, no, it's gonna be hard to find him now. That would have given him some adrenaline and pushed and ran, and it's really thick stuff. Yeah, I'd say that just comes down to me not being patient with a shot. Another lesson learnt. I don't know, I knew all those other stags were right on him, so I could see his body, I could see his antlers. If I moved any further across, it wasn't going to do anything. If I kind of let out a call, he probably would have just looked from laying and tensed up. So yeah, I just tried to slide it in inside the back rib cage and up through, but
not all was lost. He still had a blood trail, but it was going to be hard work from here.
Just give it another 10 minutes here and I'll run off down here. I'll have another go trying to track him.
For 4 years, I'd watched a big mature stag and this guy develop. I'd found 2 sets of his sheds on the property and had them on display at home. It was the owner's rules. 1, he wanted half of any animal I harvested, and 2, he wanted the stags left, as it kept a nice little herd on the property that easily allowed him to harvest a few does for food when needed. With a few health issues, he had gone full carnivore diet, and as such, he needed more meat. And with the drought years over and the numbers up, he gave me the all clear to take a stag if the opportunity presented. But now I was questioning my shot, the angle. I'd been in close on this guy many times when I could not take him, and now I was disappointed that I was in this position tracking him. The guilt was setting in fast. I was disappointed in myself. I felt bad for the animal I was trying to take, and like I'd let down the owner with my shot. He too had seen these guys grow and shared the weird emotions that come with taking an animal that you have started to get to know. Should have I waited for him to stand? These choices fall only on our own hands, and the longer you search, the more noise your brain starts to make.
I'm just crawling through this stuff, finding like one drop every 15 meters. And I might just keep up with it while I can see. Hopefully it comes out into some open land or a little tree and I can see him bedded up. So I think he's just still following this path. There's a few dried up drops there. But yeah, it's super hard to follow this. Still going here. This opens up and then goes down into a creek. Usually if you have like an animal that goes this far, they'll keep going down and lay down near water. There's a really good spot down here, so hopefully it keeps on this same game trail as it pretty much leads to this little waterhole. Come out to like this opening, and the last blood spot I can find is just there, and there's just no more. So we've got this one. They're about every 4 steps. 2, 3 blood. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one on a leaf here somewhere. That was 5 steps. So I don't know, it's like I put my bag there because I've just taken off because I've been walking circles, but you'd think you'd just follow this track or this out into the open. But yeah, I can't find any blood trails, so give it another half an hour. Just just looking here. Otherwise, I'm gonna go through that thick stuff and just see if I can bump him or head down into that little creek, because I'd say he's gone down. Usually if they're injured, they go look for water. Oh, it's not what I want. Just found a new bit of blood. Get this back on. So it looks like he's gone this way. There's one little spot there, so cut across and then start looking on these other paths over here. Let's walk down the creek, see who's down near the water. Really just doing a big snake too. I guessed where he went across that big open field. And then got back on a game trail and there was some blood dots down it, but they were so far between, like every 30 meters or whatnot. So I'm gonna go back to the last one and just cut in the bush around there. Such a nice stag too. And yeah, you know what? It's never a good feeling, any hunter, if you don't get an instant kill, but this slack that everyone cops with bows is just ridiculous, because I'm telling you, every time I've gone hunting with someone with a firearm, they have a bolt action and it is like boom, 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 just shooting at this thing running, just retarded, and the thing gets away. It's probably got 4 holes in it, it's gonna die. So like, I don't know why archery cops such a flack. Like, I know this sucks and I hate that there's an injured animal out here.
The longer I searched, the more doubt and frustration crept into my mind.
Spent 4 hours looking for that stag. The blood trail just stops at that big opening. I've walked in and out of the bush there everywhere. Oh, so devastating. So many hours went into that and it was finally good. I don't know, I'm second guessing whether I should have shot at that angle, but I don't know. I looked back on the camera, it just looked, I could see like he was laying kind of like this, with his head away, like that, with his head away from me. So I was like, just try to slide it up where my knuckles are, like. Oh, I don't know, and just kills me that I then bumped it, found it sitting there, wasn't far from where I shot it either. It was only like laid up at like 35 meters. And yeah, I just second guessed myself. I was like, nah, it's just a log. And I was like, nah, it's the deer. And I just took a step and just, yeah, he just took off. So I'll just come back, sit at the dam, taking my shoes off, got my feet are killing. It's like 1 in the hour, it's hot as, so just gonna chill here, see if anything walks on the dam again, and then once I'm a bit rested, I'll go back and search that whole creek system behind. All right, just sat off that dam. Anyway, it's a bit cooler and I'm hydrated, had a little sleep. Just gonna, this is the bush where that stag was last seen. Just gonna zigzag through, see if we can turn him up.
2 more hours passed, painstakingly stalking quietly through the bush, looking for him.
Sun's just gone down. Just bumped him again. Anyway, at least that time I could see.
The shot had landed where I wanted it to. It was back in behind the ribs, so hopefully it had gone up and done some damage. It was, however, getting late, and I wasn't sure if I'd find him before dark.
Spewing. Well, he took off that way in a hurry, so I'm gonna start heading back. I'm cooked.
I got back to camp in pretty much pitch black and played hide and go seek with a little feral black cat, which also didn't go in my favour. It had been a long day, and in this mind frame, exhausted, solo, camping out in the bush, it was going to be a long night replaying this over and over. day, a fresh start. I was praying that between the adrenaline dump after our last interaction on dark and the cold temperatures that he hadn't made the night, I wasn't leaving till I found him.
Oh my God. I've just sat up on the knoll all morning, sat back at the dam. I'm retracing the steps from yesterday, and I bumped him last night right on dark, and he's ran all the way back up. Yes. Oh, and there he is, right back here. That's the blackberry bush I shot him. Yes. Woo. What a cracker! Can you believe this? Oh, look at him. He's a cracker. Oh, I'm so stoked. It's been years in the making to get this. Oh, I bumped him last night. I followed that blood trail for like 3-4 hours yesterday. It was insane, and it just stopped in this big open area. I got up early this morning, set up at the same dam, and after about an hour or half an hour, I was like, nah, I gotta go look for that stag. Came back to that blackberry bush where I shot him, and I bumped him right on dark, and he ran this way, and he's run all the way back along the same blood trail and come here. Oh, so stoked. Look at him. He snapped this antler, been in some battles. Alright, well, it was pretty cold last night, so I'm gonna cut this meat off. Inner soles out of my shoe. I've walked that much looking for this deer. Got to take my inner soles out. So many blisters, few bags, knife sharpener. Alright, so I've got the meat off one leg. The whole left side of his body was destroyed by that arrow, unfortunately, from that heavy quartering away shot. It slid inside and then popped back out the ribs, so it like popped one lung and then popped out the front of the shoulder, which is crazy. So I've cut that leg up for dog meat. I've got the other side front and back, and the back straps, and my pack is heavy. So I'm just drinking all the water I can to save another 2 kilos. Oh, thank God for these extendable packs. Now for the fun bit. beast. Bad boy. Ooh. It's gonna be a fun 5Ks. Good boy. Two nice big chunks of neck meat. It's gonna make an epic stew. Half of one butt, just one big chunk of rump. Oh, well, the fun does not stop in the bush. That's the last bit. So, I'm gonna let that wet age for 2 weeks. Okay, so that's lightly browned. Just gonna pick that up, straight into the slow cooker. Cut it perfectly to fit. Get the onion and that in there with it.
Hunting's one thing, but being able to prepare a meal and know that you put your blood, sweat and tears into that meal and being able to provide it for your friends is something that is just an amazing feeling to do. Thanks for watching. Please chuck a comment below. I spent a lot of time on this video, and yeah, if you're loving it, send it to your mates, hit subscribe, and I'll get back to editing some of these amazing adventures I've had over the past 6 months. I'll see you then.